this episode of Not Just Ghost Stories. I'm your host, Josh, joined by Jackie and Laura. Today is going to be about Tuscarora Moon and College Corner. Jackie, would you like to give us some history?
Sure. In 1832, Gideon Sears Howe bought the land, which would become the town of College Corners. 1833, he erected a hotel/tavern, and in 1837, he platted the town around the tavern and named it College Corners. Okay, the village itself sits along a smooth ridge made by a retreating, mile-thick glacier of the Pleistocene era. It also sits on the border of Ohio and Indiana. The state line runs through the gymnasium of the school, which currently is serving as a preschool through 5th grade. It's the only school where you can throw a basketball from half court in Ohio and make the basket in Indiana. And before Indiana joined the Eastern Time Zone, a half-court shot could take an hour. College Corners was once known for its pure spring waters from Talawanda Springs. The glacier that swept the area left behind a huge underground aquifer beneath most of the tributaries draining into the Miami Valley. A bottling plant was opened just outside the town, and the bottled water was sold nationwide. In 1996, the name and the company was sold. The bottling plant still remains, although it is no longer in use. The shop that housed Tuscarora Moon sits along the main street just across from Howe Tavern, which is now a private home. It was one building comprised of two shops. The one shop had been a bank and still has the vault in it and a vault in the basement. The other shop was a post office at one time, and then throughout the years and stuff, there were various other shops. The second floor had housed an apothecary shop, but currently is being used as apartments. The stairs to the second floor are on the outside of the first floor, enclosed so that from the first floor you cannot get to the second floor. It's a separate door.
All right, thank you for the history. Today's ghost hunt will actually be, we'll be talking about 3 different ones that have been done there.
Yes.
2 by Laura and I, and 1, Jackie, you were there by yourself with another group of people for the world's largest ghost hunt.
Yeah, I was with Spook Paranormal.
Yeah. So now what we will say also is Tuscarora Moon is no longer in College Corner. They have moved since then, back closer to Cincinnati. So the one thing about this place is when we first went and we ended up going down to the basement, we noticed just this large rush of energy. Do you remember that, Jackie?
Yes.
Lord, do you remember like the large rush of energy and how it was hitting us?
Yeah, I didn't like it when they moved there.
It was very crazy, to say the least, overall. What else do you guys remember about trying to, just initial thoughts on the building?
Now, part of that rush of energy was old wiring. I believe it still had the paper insulation wiring, and the wiring in the basement, there was actually a wire that was hanging low and had some open connections to it.
Yeah, not real safe.
Yeah. And also the floor was dirt. It might have been concrete at one time, but it was covered with dirt and it was muddy. So we were tramping in water with live wires all around us.
Yep. Smart.
Yeah, it was a little crazy, to say the least. In one section of it, there was actually a bunch of, like, I don't know if you call it garbage, but some of it was just plain garbage down in that basement where, like, somebody just thrown it down there and said, it'll be fine here. There was an old telephone receiver, rotary phone.
Yep.
There was just stuff everywhere. And then as we kind of perused the basement, we found like a secondary vault area.
Yep. With the weirdest spiders in it.
Yeah, they were. I forgot about those spiders.
Yeah. And
they were only in that vault.
Yeah, they were
the rest
nowhere
of the
else.
Basement, we didn't see any.
But, it was covered in dirt. It didn't look like it ever had a door. It was more made of concrete, but very thick concrete down in that basement. And I remember standing in the middle there. We were just kind of doing an investigation. We're kind of talking. I didn't pick up any evidence out of there on a recorder or anything. Did you, Jackie?
We did not, but we were using a phone app at that time too. And I don't want to say anything bad about phone apps, but I'm still out on whether they're good or bad.
I mean, I'll let you know my feeling on it. I don't think they're worth anything.
Yeah.
Um,
The only
because
thing we did get from that phone app, which was really cool, it was coming out with some words. And one time it said killer, but for some reason the app said killer with like an English accent, which didn't scare us because when it's an English accent, it's like killer. It's like, oh, that's so cute.
well, I mean, Laura, what do you think about the phone app?
I'm not a fan. I believe that when something is, in my mind, an app has an analog behind it,
Yeah.
because that's what makes it work. So that's negative for me.
Well, I mean,
That, and when we've been multiple places and the ones that we use, we'll say the same names. Roberta.
Yeah.
Roberta is in 10 different places. No, she's not.
Diane.
She gets around.
Yeah, and it's just,
Now, the only place that made me think about the app overall was when we were on the second floor. There was a mirror. They ended up getting rid of that mirror.
Yeah.
Becky, you remember? We had it sitting on top of that mirror, and we're getting some different words that we've never gotten out of that app ever again. That really actually did lead us down a good path when we started researching things of people that used to be there in the past, and that was on the bank side of the building.
Yes.
The building itself was a post office on one side and a bank on the other, and then now they meet in the middle. You can have a little pathway between the two in the back room. But that was about the only place that I saw the app actually kind of work pretty good. Other than that, I mean, we use that app at Jim Jones Church, Center Church, the Undisclosed School, and you get the same stuff over and over and over again. It just kind of discounts anything that you do find on it, is the way I felt.
I mean, I guess if you're at a ghost hunt and you just can't get anything going, by all means try it. But I would definitely follow it up with some sort of secondary way.
Yeah.
Well, and we were running that app, and that's when I saw that really fast moving shadow. So the app might have drawn something in, even though it wasn't using the app to communicate through. So,
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, considering the other technology that they're able to use to communicate, it shouldn't be impossible. It should be possible for that to work.
It could, yeah. It's very possible. I mean, the biggest thing about, I don't want to get into a rant about apps on our phones.
I think we're already there.
Yeah. They need to be verified, and you can't always take everything how you see it. You got to really kind of delve into how you're looking at things and make sure that you do any type of research to back it up. If you're not backing it up, then you're just kind of taking a random algorithm's word for it, which, I mean, I can get on TikTok, look at one thing and be like, oh, that's cool. I don't even favorite it. But then all of a sudden it starts giving me that same thing over and over and over again, even though I don't want to see it. So that's what you kind of have to remember with the apps.
yeah, and like the same way when we're down in the basement and it says killer.
Oh, you got to do it with the accent.
I'm sorry, killer. Instead of going, oh my gosh, there's a demon down here or something, we just went, that is so cute when they say it with that accent and stuff.
Now, we'll go back down to the basement. We'll get back to and a lot of what we're talking about was the very first time we actually ghost hunted there. But down in that basement, there was energy. Everything that we had, there's no concrete evidence. And what I mean by that is EVPs, even K2 hits. There was a few K2 hits, or even anything on video, but everything was feeling, and the rush of energy that would pass through was just crazy on how much energy was coming through there. Would you guys agree with me on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the water.
Yeah. which we'll get to here in a few minutes because that was
Well, standing in the basement, I kept being drawn to the back corner, and I kept seeing a river flowing through there. Like at one point, was there a river flowing through there? I don't know, but I just felt like there should have been water there.
yeah. Well, and at that time, because I can remember you saying that on the first time. At that time, we didn't know about Talawanda Springs and how close it actually was to the main building that we were in.
Right.
It was around the corner. Um, but down there, it's just all feeling again, old wiring. Yes, I get that, but there was something different about that energy.
And we've also found as we went upstairs, and we'll get to the vault, a lot of times our evidence is no evidence. We had put Josh in the vault. He closed the door. He couldn't hear us. He couldn't see us. We couldn't see him. He's in absolute dark. He's got his eyes covered. His ears are listening to white noise and stuff. We were asking questions. He had a recorder. I had a recorder. We both check. We're both recording. And yet at the end of that segment, coming home and going through the recordings, they're gone. They're gone.
On
I didn't.
mine,
Yeah.
on mine, which is a total separate recorder. I know I had it recording when I walked in there. I know for a fact I had it recording, and I had just set it down off to the side because I didn't want to hold it. Doing the sensory depth in there, but I came home and when I go over to review, it was gone. And I remember calling Jackie and be like, "Hey, I need to know what type of questions you were asking because I can't find my side." And you started reviewing, and she got nothing.
Yeah.
So, and she's like, "Oh, it didn't record," and she knows for a fact she had hers recording too. So it's
It is.
odd to me on that side. Now, Laura, you've been in Tuscarora Moon. You've walked through it by yourself and with us. What type of feelings were you getting about the building?
I didn't have any really like when we pulled up. I just think that just comes down to because you feel the whole town. You feel that town before you get to it. You go through some weird places just to get there. But inside the building, it's really heavy, and I think a lot of things went on there that probably shouldn't go on places. But for me, the biggest thing was when this stands out. The first time we went there was that wall that was painted.
Yes.
Yes.
That was on the bank side also.
So I think before Tuscarora Moon was there, I believe it was a tattoo parlor. So you would expect there to be like, well, you wouldn't expect, but that's stereotyping. Okay, there's usually dark art involved. And this was one of those. But to me, it felt like that had been painted with intent, not just art.
And I think we have a picture. I'm trying to remember exactly what was painted, but it was almost like a Illuminati symbol with like a portal behind it.
Yeah. Yes, there was a portal that was centered on that piece of art, but you felt it also ran up into the second floor.
And it did.
And it felt really different when you would stand in front of that wall as opposed to anywhere else.
Yeah.
We should also say, too, across the street was a funeral parlor.
Yep.
So every once in a while, you get some random energy coming through. There were 2 windows coming through those windows, and I always felt it was from the funeral parlor.
Yeah. And what I will say is most of the stuff that we ended up finding was on the bank side of that building. There was some stuff on the post office side in the basement, but not really upstairs in the main part. Now we weren't able to get up into the apartments. You know, we're not going to intrude anybody's privacy by going upstairs into their apartments and saying, "Hey, can we ghost hunt because we think there's stuff happening to you." You know, we would only do it if we were invited. But the main building itself, the bank building, I think they ended up finding it was a tattoo parlor, and the guy had gotten arrested for some type of sexual charges, right?
Yes.
Of stuff that happened in the old vault
Yep.
of that bank because it still had the door. You could still shut it. and latch it.
It was still a vault.
It was still a vault.
Yeah.
Extremely cold compared to everything else in the building is one thing I can really, really remember. It was extremely cold in there.
And the picture and portal that we told you about was on the other side
Of that
of
wall.
that wall
Mhm.
in the vault. And then maybe now's a good time. We went there twice. Most of what we found was in the bank. I was there for the world's largest ghost hunt. I was on the other side. I was sitting in a chair, and I believe I was alone. Everybody else was over on the other side. And I'm sitting in a chair, and all of a sudden, I felt like I was on a train, because the chair is just sort of vibrating like you would riding a train and stuff like that. And my back, because I was facing the other shop, there's a lot of shop behind me. My back got really, really hot. So just sort of sat there and went. It felt like you're on the beach and a wave is coming, and you can kind of feel the water retract, and then you can also feel it coming. And that's what it felt to me. It was like a wave was coming and stuff. And I actually grabbed the table because I thought, I think I'm going to fall off. I'm going to get vibrated off the chair.
Did you feel that that was coming from the structure of the building or the land?
That was coming from the land. It was like, I didn't want to say land, but from the outside the first time it hit me. So again, we were doing the world's largest ghost hunt, and me and another person were over there. And I sat in the same chair, and I told him, I said, all right, my back is getting hot again. And he put a thermometer on it, and there was a difference in degrees and stuff like that. And this time the wave was a little bit stronger, and I could actually feel it coming, and it passed me. And it was a strong wave, but I'm not going to say it's good. I'm not going to say it's bad. It was just a wave of power, and it went by me and then receded. It happened one more time, and this time there were people outside. And not saying this is good or bad, but this person outside is the one that had attacked the shop owner. When this wave came, it wasn't all of a sudden, it came from being static energy to going to evil. It was feeding on the people outside.
Well, we
So-
discussed when we were there one time, I know as well, that the energy there is power. Like there's a lot of power in that area. And we felt that some people may have, to not say that they traded their soul for power, may have done that in a roundabout way with the things that are available there.
Yeah, like I say, it's incredible power. It's
Well,
kind of exhilarating, actually.
well, let's put it this way. Donna is, one of the shop owners. She's a good friend of ours. Done a lot of stuff. We know how powerful of a psychic that she is. When they found this place, she was called to this place. As soon as they pulled up, she said that she knew that this is where they were supposed to be. So somehow this power that's there was actually pulling her. And Jackie, you developed an opinion. They had
theory.
a theory of Gamora.
Okay, you have to back it up just a bit. We
Yeah.
forgot to mention the haunted dresser.
Yes.
A couple of years ago, somebody had called Matt and Donna. They had this dresser. They wanted it out of their house because it made them sick. So Matt and Donna picked it up, took it to their house, and it started making them sick. So they put it out on the porch, and they were doing experiments on it. They finally moved it to their shop that they had in town at that time. And her granddaughter, who is also a psychic, for some reason had an affinity to this woman that was attached to this dresser. And she named her Gamora. I had a few run-ins in with Gamora. I didn't feel she was bad. And I told Donna, I said, you really should let her go. Just let her go. And Donna's like, I don't want to let something go that I don't know if it's good or bad. Me, I'll just turn everything loose. But Donna's trying to be responsible and stuff. So they moved to College Corners, and this haunted desk is there. At one point, I'm sitting outside the shop. Nobody's in the shop. There's a wooden door. I'm sitting outside on the stoop, and I hear 3 knocks coming from inside the shop on the inside of the door. There's nobody in that shop. It didn't come from upstairs. It came from right behind me. It was Gamora. Donna had let her have a little more rain, and she had made it to the door and knocked on the door. So there was this entity, Gamora, and everything, like I say, we didn't get evidence. When I'm sitting there and I'm feeling the energy, it comes in pictures. And the picture I got was of the Ghostbusters, the second movie, the pink slime, a river of pink slime running underneath the earth, and just like taking everything in its path. And I got the impression that Gamora had actually come from here as a living person. And I think she's the one who brought Donna back.
Yeah.
She wanted to go back there because that power is very, it can seduce you very easily and things. So Gamora wanted back there. And I also told Donna, I said, to me, that power is after more power. And Donna needed to get out of there because Donna's a very powerful psychic. And this thing, when it gets you, will not let you go. You can move away, you can die, but eventually you're going to get back there and you're going to become part of what I named the collective.
Yep. It's a strange place.
Now, Jackie, your river of slime idea then took us on to our next part, which is researching Talawanda Springs, the spring water company. And when we researched exactly where it was at, it's right around the corner from where the shop is at. So we decided to go up there and do a little bit of searching also. It was an extremely rainy day. It had a little bridge that you drove across, but it had the water running over top of that. We still, Jackie being the crazy person that she is, drove through it. Was like, hey, we'll be all right.
I have a Jeep. It goes everywhere.
I was going to say, we were in a Jeep. It was fine.
And then even with the no trespassing signs,
there were no trespassing signs?
I don't recall seeing those.
I don't see them either.
Yeah, you two didn't see them. That's why you guys took off walking toward the Talawanda Springs.
I mean, in our defense, there's stuff laying everywhere. It was raining.
So,
and I think, I don't know if you felt them, but we were discussing Indians, and we thought maybe Indians had cursed the water or something.
We did. Yeah. I mean, there's so many energies going on there that almost anything we could think of, we considered. But yeah, I still stand by. I believe Indians were in that area at one time.
yeah.
It would make perfect sense as well with the glacier having came through. Those lands would have been fertile. So
well, and also it's called the Miami Valley with the Miami River, and isn't there an Indian tribe in Miami's?
Yep, that's what everything was kind of really named after. But one of the things I can remember was the energy that was coming from the flowing. I don't know if you want to call it a river, but large creek, like an in between. It was a pretty decent size. The springs that were running through there. Why don't you guys tell me about the building that you guys went back to, the old Talawanda Springs building?
Looked abandoned, had a lot of old toy, like a garbage dump. Wasn't used. There was an open door, so of course we weren't trespassing. We were invited in, and we went in, and we went so far, and I remember thinking, God, I hope she doesn't want to go any further, because I don't want to go in that darkness. There's something in that darkness I don't want to encounter right now.
it is scary in there, and we didn't end up going all the way back.
Yeah.
Number one, it was flooded inside of there as well, so you had to watch where you were stepping. But it was strange, like when we first walked through the open door that didn't have no sign on it. There was like a kiddie pool and like a like a little kid 4-wheeler. Like it looked like somebody literally was living in there, like a daycare.
Yeah, and I think you got pictures of. I think both of you. I don't remember if both of you had cameras, but I know Lori, you got pictures, or they're on our computer.
Then there was obvious signs too of teenagers having been there. I mean, there was bottles and there was rotting all over the walls, and
Yeah,
but there also is something that stays in the back of there.
In the darkness.
Yeah.
And you could kind of see it, feel it. And to me, it was just like, come on in. And I went, no.
It's one of those places where you feel it on your arms. Like it's almost like it can seep in if you're not really careful.
yeah. Now, while you guys were in the building, Donna was with us. She stayed back in the car. I stayed back with her, and I was just kind of walking around by the springs that were running over top of that little drive that went through there, just trying to get an energy read, and it was all over the place to me. I mean, it was just very odd feeling. I'm trying to figure out a different word for it, but just a very odd feeling, like in the bottom of my gut, like something like we shouldn't be near it. I don't know, is what I was kind of feeling.
And for me, I really wanted to know. So you know how like where the bridge was, where we went, had to drive through the water, and if you looked when we were going up to the building, it would have been to the left as it went around that bend. I would love to go around that bend, but it would have been dangerous at that time. The water was really moving, and the whole place is almost,
Yeah.
you just sink.
Because we weren't at the spring head, I don't think.
We discussed going back when it
Yeah.
was warm weather because, you can't get to where we wanted to get to and not get wet.
Yeah.
But we were also on private property.
Yeah. Well, but then that led Jackie for an idea about an experiment with the spring water itself. So we collected a sample. Now the spring water, we say spring water, and Talawanda Springs did sell that water in stores. I can remember back when I was younger, working in a grocery store, selling Talawanda Springs water, stocking it and everything else. But so it hasn't been filtered or anything. So it has, of course, it's been raining too. So it's a little dirty when I put it into the bottle, but it still had the clear effect to it. But the only thing I can remember after I put it in that bottle and it was sitting there next to me is like, man, I'm extremely thirsty.
That happened. We took it back. We were still doing the shop. And there was, Donna had rented out half the shop to a Reiki master. He was there also.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that bottle sitting there. And he kept thinking he wanted to drink it also. Like he was sitting, it was on the little table, and he was sitting next to me. And he's like, man, I just feel like I'm really thirsty. I should take a drink of that water.
It was strange.
And I brought it home to do the test. And I left it on the counter, and I kept thinking, I need a drink, and found myself reaching for the bottle. So I taped it up and put "Do not drink" on it, and put it over where it wouldn't be next to anybody.
Yeah. And you left it sitting there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you did run some tests on it. What do you remember? What all you found on the tests?
No, because there's quite a few tests. It's a water test that we got 2 different kinds, and basically it came out pure water. There were 2 tests that were just over onto the positive that were really bad, and I can't remember what they were for, but I wouldn't have drank it until I sent it out to get it retested.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, it was raining. We took it right out of the creek.
I
It
started to
was
say,
pretty pure.
I bet if it hadn't been raining, those probably wouldn't have spiked over.
Yeah. And there was another test we did for like bacteria and stuff like that. Passed that one.
Yeah. Didn't you even use it on some plants? Just to
I
see?
did. I took a plant and I took a little cutting off it and watered the plant for, I think, like 30 days, and the plant thrived. Now, after I was done testing the water, I then forgot to water the plant, so the plant died, but not because of the spring water.
Lack of any water.
Pretty much. Um, but we did go back and do more investigation after we collected the spring water that day. Um, what I will say is we did another sensory depth in the vault again. Jackie, I think you were in the vault with me this time before you were
Yes.
outside of the vault in order to try to do it. And we didn't really get much off of that sensory depth.
No.
But since then, that painting that was on the wall, they had then gotten rid of and covered up.
And Donna had closed the portal.
Yeah. And Donna closed the portal. So things seem to be starting to clear up a little bit now. Downstairs in the basement on that second one, I feel like the energy got worse. Like it was, well, not that it got worse, stronger.
And Donna had told us she felt Wendigo down there.
Yeah. Which would be a little odd to me, but at the same time not, if especially if that area was controlled by Indian territory before College Corner was actually founded, is the way I see it. Do you remember the energy lord that on that second time that we were there?
For me, the energy was a lot better because that wall wasn't there. That was my fixation with it. I don't know if I don't know why I focused on that part more than
Yeah.
any of the other. But no, I felt was just amazed that that was gone, and I think that was what I spent most of my time on. Because then I'm like, well, if you do paint over it and you close it, well, where did it go? Where did it's still there? It's just behind another color of paint.
Yeah.
Well, we found out when portals are closed, I don't think most people can sense them. I think we go looking for them, so we find them. But I think once they're closed, you really can't. Most people can't sense them.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. What else do we want to say about the ghost hunt of Tuscarora Moon? Is there something that I'm missing? Because I'm trying to go through it all. The mirror was a big part of our ghost hunt on
Right.
the first time that we went.
And they smashed that.
They smashed that, which
Are you seeing a pattern here of all the things they had to do?
yeah. Now here's what I will say about Tuscarora Moon and College Corner. They're no longer there. Jackie mentioned that one of the owners got into an issue with one of the tenants upstairs. The anger that just fills College Corner. College Corner itself, to me, is a very odd
Yes.
city. I don't even know if you can call it a city, a town.
Little town, yeah.
What do we think about College Corner as a whole?
There are some places, and we live next to one, they're just wrong.
Yeah.
College Corners is wrong.
Yeah, I think it's ancient wrong. Not anything anybody has done by any means recently. I'm talking like I think it's really old.
Well, to me, it was like Stephen King, It. If we'd went down and followed the Pink River slime, we would have had to bite I think they had to bite the tongue of the spider.
Yeah.
And I don't like spiders.
And there was some weird spiders there.
Well, and even that, you start reading into College Corner history, it has been a very weird and twisted
a lot
history.
of deaths.
A lot of deaths.
FBI man was killed there.
Well, not even that. You also have the political twists that come in with it. Just recently, they elected a new mayor that could not get into their own city building because of somebody else that was trying to run the city.
Yeah, because the
run the
secretary
town.
wouldn't give him the key.
Yeah, and I mean, it's
Like there are so many things there that don't add up.
not at all. And I'm trying to figure out what else to say, but it is just weird.
You got to wonder if all of or the majority of the players there know, and it's just outsiders that are like, "What?"
Well, I think it's like we have a friend of ours that lives in a town with a paper mill, and every time I go over there, I'm like, oh my god, it stinks, but he doesn't smell it
Yeah.
because he's used to it.
Well, and it's not only College Corner. As you're driving up toward College Corner, you go through a couple different little towns.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
And some of it is not really Amish ran, but there are Amish in the area. but one has a portrait on the side of the building. I can't remember the name of the little town now. But the very first time that we had driven through it and seen that, we all just kind of stopped and said, what did we just witness?
It's like,
Well, the portrait is Grandma and Grandpa. And I think they're holding hands or something, and they're farmers. They're out in the fields. And when you drive and you look at that, you're like, oh my God, I think they're burying they killed
Grandpa-
somebody. Yeah, Grandpa killed somebody.
Grandpa looks like the Screamer painting.
yeah, they're real pale, and like even the shadowing, they like shadowed under his eyes, even if those were naturally there. You wouldn't add them in a painting.
I mean,
and grandma's eyes are like, I kill you now.
And his face is like kind of long too, and it comes to a point. It's just
It
the
is not
whole picture
welcoming.
is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is a very odd drive just to get there. Now, south of College Corner, there's Oxford, and that's where Miami University is. And that's not bad. Oxford is actually not that bad to drive through. It's actually pretty cool to drive through. But some of the other little small towns, the outskirting towns, as you're driving through them or in them, is just odd overall. I mean, I just don't know any
Even
other
when
way
you
to
see
say
like
it.
a business that would normally have customers, I guess you don't want to go in.
Yeah.
You almost feel like you're not welcome.
We did stop. Me and you stopped on our way out of the town in one of the other little towns at a little store to get something to eat. They had a little deli. There was like 4 or 5 people in there. They were all just sitting there talking, and it was just weird to be inside of that building because they all were just kind of staring at us like,
yeah, like they stopped.
like we shouldn't be there. And we kind of said, let's get this and get out of here.
Like maybe this is just a cover. It's not really a business. I don't.
Well, and I come through that one town. I stopped at the church. It was a cool looking church. Like the front part was old and the back part looked kind of new. So I parked like in the middle, and you could feel the line. If I went towards the front part, it's like, I don't like that. If I went towards the new part, it's like, oh, I like this. This is nice. So, I mean, it was just like you could almost see the line. Evil, good.
Yeah. So that's going to bring me to my next point about let's go back to the shop and the amount of energy running through the building, and what kind of things could be causing it. Now, this will be, and it'll be kind of a spoiler alert for the people listening or, watching. This will be our next podcast about basically where energy reigns inside of a building and how it can control the building, and not even just a building, sometimes the whole entire town. Right? Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah, and well, for me, the next one I intend to kind of explain why described it as it's ancient. I'll kind of explain of why my thoughts go that way.
Yeah.
Ancient and alien.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Definitely Stephen King fodder.
But when you say alien, I don't think it came from up. I think it came from in. I'll give you that hint.
Oh, there we go. So that'll be something to think about before we get to our next podcast, kind of get some ideas. And people, we would love to hear from you. So you can contact us anytime through email. So until then, this has been Not Just Ghost Stories. We've been your host, Josh.
Laura.
And Jackie. And you can check out our website at notjustghoststories.com.
And definitely see the evidence that we've discussed at Facebook at Not Just Ghost Stories.
Thanks.